Chapter 6. The Praises of Tathagata. At that time, Bhagavat emitted brilliant lights from his entire body, which prevalently brightened the Buddha's worlds, that are as numerous as the sand grains in 100 quadrillion Ganges rivers. Along with the brilliant lights, the Buddha also prevalently delivered magnificent voices to those Buddha's worlds to inspire all the bodhisattvas, mahasattvas, devas, nagas, ghosts, gods, humans and non-humans, saying, "Today, please listen to what I am about to commend and praise Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva Mahasattva for how he, in all the worlds in the 10 directions of this universe, applies his inconceivable, miraculous powers, kindness and mercy to rescue and protect all sinful suffering beings. After I enter nirvana, all of you, bodhisattvas, mahasattvas, devas, nagas, ghosts, gods, and others, must extensively find every convenient way to protect and promote this sutra, so that all sentient beings in the future can achieve and validate the happiness of nirvana." After the Buddha finished these words, there was a bodhisattva in the assembly named Samanta Vipula, who brought his palms together in front of his chest, made reverent obeisance to the Buddha, and said, "Today I witness you, Bhagavat, praising Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva for his inconceivable, great miraculous power and immense merits. I wish wholeheartedly that you, Bhagavat, will speak and unveil for future sinful suffering beings in the Dharma declining period about how Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva will benefit beings in the human and celestial realms, and what kinds of virtuous causes they must plan so as to receive good consequences. Therefore, all sentient beings in the 8 divisions, including devas, nagas, and others, as well as sentient beings in the future, will accept your explanations with great respect." Then Bhagavat said to Samanta Vipula Bodhisattva and the 4 groups of the Buddha's disciples, listen attentively. I will give you a brief account of how Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva benefits sentient beings in the human and celestial realms with various blissful and virtuous deeds." Samanta Vipula replied, "Of course, Bhagavat. That is what I am delighted to hear." The Buddha said to Samanta Vipula Bodhisattva, "In the future, if there are virtuous men or virtuous women who hear the name of Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva Mahasattva as a rescuer, bring their palms together as a gesture of reverence, give praises to Ksitigarbha for his merits and powers, reverently prostrate themselves, with head touching the ground at the feet of his image, and gaze upon and admire his image with longing for salvation. These persons will be exonerated of all their sinful deeds committed in the past 30 kalpas." Furthermore, Samanta Vipula, if there are virtuous men or virtuous women who paint the image of Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva with color, or sculpt his image with earth, stone, rubber, lacquer, gold, silver, copper, or iron, and then, with each gaze at the image, make an obeisance. For 100 lifetimes, they will reincarnate in the 33 heavens and will never fall into the evil realms. If their celestial blessings come to an end and they fall back to the realm of humans, they will still become kings or leaders with abundant blessings. If there is a woman who dislikes being born in the body of a woman, and she wholeheartedly makes generous offerings to the image of Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva, either painted ones or sculpted ones made of earth, stone, rubber, lacquer, copper, or iron, and if she should continue to do so, day after day, without intermission, and also use flowers, incense, food, clothing, colorful decoration, canopies, banners, money, jewels, or any beloved objects as offerings. This virtuous woman, after her current life ends, for the next 1 billion kappas, will never be reborn into the worlds that have the presence of women, and certainly will never be born as a woman again, unless she has made a great, kind, and merciful vow, as her willing and conscious choice, that she wishes to remain in a woman's identity in order to rescue other beings. Due to the merits of making offerings to Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva and the merits of Ksitigarbha, the empowerment from Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva will enable her not to be reborn as a woman for the next 1 billion kappas. Furthermore, Samanta Vipula, if there is a woman who strongly detests her ugly appearance and is tormented by her frequent illnesses, as long as she gazes and makes obeisance wholeheartedly to the image of Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva for the time span of having a meal, for the next 10 million kappas she will be born with perfect appearance. If the ugly woman is not tired of being a woman, then for the next 100 quadrillion births she will be reborn as a noble princess, a queen, a daughter of a royal family, or a daughter of a prestigious elder, and she will be graceful with excellent features. Such blissful results all come from her earnest gazing and paying solemn obeisance to Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva. Furthermore, Samanta Vipula, if any virtuous men or virtuous women perform good music and dance in front of the image of Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva, admire Ksitigarbha's merits with singing and chanting, and make offerings of fragrant incense and fresh flowers, even persuade another person or as many people as possible to do the same. Such persons in their present lifetimes and future lives will always be guarded and protected day and night by 100,000 ghosts and gods. They will be spared from frequently hearing about any events of horror, and neither shall they suffer any unexpected calamities and disasters. Moreover, Samanta Vipula, in the future, if any evil people, evil gods, or evil ghosts see virtuous men or virtuous women paying homage and respect to the image of Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva with offerings, praises, chants, and gazes of admiration, and these evil beings become conceited by saying such efforts are worthless, without any merit nor benefit, or ridicule them with a mocking laugh, or talk ill of them, either behind their back or with others, or persuade one person or many persons to do the same, or even generate a slight thought of slander. Even after 1,000 Buddhas have come and gone in the present Vajrakappa, these evil beings will remain in Avicii hell, to suffer severe pain without any salvation or liberation. After this Vajrakappa has passed, these evil beings will come out of Avicii hell to be reborn as hungry ghosts. After another 1,000 kalpas have passed, they will be reborn as animals. And after 1,000 more kalpas have passed, they will be reborn as humans. As humans, they will belong to the lower class and suffer in poverty, and will be looked down upon. They will also be handicapped, crippled, and mentally disabled. At the same time, their minds will easily turn to evil directions and doing evil deeds. Before long, they will fall back into the lower paths again. Therefore, Samanta Vipula, to ridicule other people for worshipping and making offerings to the image of Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva, will have such terrible retributions. Yet how much worse would it be if these people defame and degrade Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva with additional evil views? Again, Samanta Vipula, in the future, if there are men or women who have been ill and bedridden for a long time, unable to live decently, nor experience an easy and swift death, or have dreamed of and been haunted by evil ghosts or deceased relatives, or have been tormented by traveling onto frightening, fierce, and dangerous paths, or have been weighed down by ghostly figures, or have been kidnapped by many ghosts or gods to enter perilous paths, or have cried out frequently in sleep of pain and desperation after days and months of prolonged illness. These miserable phenomena reveal that the patients are still engaging in karmic disputes with Yamaraja, and they have yet to agree on the severities of the patient's retributions, which will determine where they will reincarnate to. Even when these patients are beyond any hope for recovery, they still refuse to let go of life because they are terribly afraid of not knowing where death will lead to, and thus linger on indefinitely and prolong their suffering. Men and women with mundane wisdom are unable to understand or explain the seemingly strange behavior of these patients. They fail to empathize with these patients about their inner struggle. Thus, they are unable to experience the patient's suffering and fear. The only correct things to do for these patients are, in front of the images of the Buddha and Bodhisattva, read this entire sutra one time aloud for the patients to hear. Gather the treasured belongings of the patients, such as clothing, jewels, deeds of their farm and house, and say loudly and clearly to the patients, I, so-and-so, on behalf of you and in front of the sutra and images, will relinquish these valuables to be used as offerings in order to honor this sutra and the images, or have the Buddha and Bodhisattva's images sculpted, or have a pagoda or a temple constructed, or light an oil lamp, or support the livelihood of the Sangha. Repeat these statements 3 times to let the patients hear them, even if the patients are unconscious or have already been dead for 1, 2, 3, 4, or even 7 days. It is still beneficial to make the statements. Just recite the statements and read this sutra aloud. After the patients pass away, their past misfortunes and heavy sins, which may be as severe as the 5 unremitting sins, will be eradicated forever, and they will be reborn as disciples of the 3 jewels, with the wisdom of knowing their past lives. How much better will it be if those virtuous men or virtuous women would hand copy this sutra, or have others hand copy this sutra, or paint or sculpt the image of the Bodhisattva, or have others do the same. They will gain enormous benefits. Therefore, Samanta Vipula, if you see a person who would study and chant this sutra, or have the thought of praising and admiring this sutra, or generate a mind of great reverence towards this sutra, you should find 100,000 convenient ways to persuade the person to keep up with such diligence without regress, so that in the future he or she will gain 1 quadrillion inconceivable merits. Again, Samanta Vipula, in the future, if there are men or women who while asleep dream of various ghosts, gods, and other beings, such as hungry ghosts, animals, or hell beings, that appear sad, weepy, distressed, in despair, anxious, or frightened, these ghosts may be the deceased parents, brothers, sisters, husbands, wives, or other close dependents of these men or women in this lifetime or in the past one, 10, 100, or even 1,000 lives that need help. These ghosts have stayed in the evil realms yet to gain deliverance with little hope of locating resources of blessings and strengths to rescue them out of their miserable states. These men or women should tell the ghosts, the loved ones of their past lives, that they should rely on Tathagata's various convenient ways to express a clear vow of wanting to depart from the evil realms. Samanta Vipula, you should also use your miraculous power to guide those living relatives to honor the following practices. Read this sutra in front of the images of the Buddha and Bodhisattva with utmost sincerity. Either read this sutra themselves or have others read it for them at least 3 to 7 times. After finishing the sutra reading, the relatives abiding in the evil realms will be liberated, and the living ones will never dream of them again. Moreover, Samanta Vipula, in the future, there will be great number of people born into the lower class as slaves, servants, or those who have lost their freedom. If they are aware of what evil deeds they have committed in their past lives that have caused them to lose their freedom as retribution in this lifetime, and they wish to change their destinies through repentance, so to eradicate their past sinful deeds, they can perform the following. Pay the utmost respect to Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva by gazing upon and paying obeisance to his image. Chant the name of Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva 10,000 times within a time frame of 7 days. Consequently, these people that have lost their freedom will be empowered by Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva's great vows, and, upon ending this life of retribution, for the next 10 million reincarnations, they will always be born in respectable and prestigious places, and will never fall into the 3 evil realms again to endure great sufferings. Furthermore, Samanta Vipula, in the future for all people in Jambudvipa, such as Kshatriyas, Brahmins, respectable elders, Upasakas and Upasikas, as well as foreigners and those in the lower castes, who give birth to newborn babies, either boys or girls, if their relatives would, read or chant this unbelievably powerful sutra on behalf of the babies within 7 days of their births, and also chant the name of Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva 10,000 times. The newborn babies, either boys or girls, will be liberated from their unfortunate retributions due to past evil deeds, and the babies will be easy to raise and have increased longevity. If the babies are born with blissful karma from the past, their good fortune and longevity will be increased. Furthermore, Samanta Vipula, for future sentient beings, there is a fasting method that can be called Ksitigarbha's 10 fasting days. This means every month in the lunar calendar, on the 1st day, the 8th day, the 14th, 15th, 18th, 23rd, 24th, 28th, 29th, and 30th days. Committed sins are weighed to determine their severity. To observe these fasting days is especially important for sentient beings in southern Jambudvipa, because whenever their minds generate an idea or take any action, the idea and action are all karmic and sinful deeds. Besides, they often violate the four grave prohibitions and indulge in killing, stealing, wrongful sex, and untruthful speech, and the total number of such sins are in the 100,000. Therefore, during these 10 fasting days, if they would, read this sutra once per day in front of the images of the Buddha, Bodhisattvas, and Arhats. Within a radius of 9 miles, there will be no calamities. Such acts will also spare all household members, young and old, from falling into evil realms in the present and for the future 100,000 years, if they would. Read this sutra once on each of these 10 fasting days. All household members will not encounter any sudden illness, and they will have abundant food and clothing. Therefore, Samanta Vipula, all of you should know that Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva has such enormous, unspeakable, great miraculous power that enables him to accomplish 100 quadrillion beneficial matters. Sentient beings of Jambudvipa have very special bonds with this great Bodhisattva. If these sentient beings have heard about the name of Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva, seen his image, and learned about this sutra, even 3 words, 5 words, 1 gatha, or 1 sentence, they will have superb peace and joy, and for 1 billion lives in the future, they will be reborn in prestigious families with distinguished appearances. After hearing Tathagata make such profound praises, comments, and honors about Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva, Samanta Vipula Bodhisattva rearranged his robe to expose his right shoulder, with palms folded together and kneeling on his right knee, said again to the Buddha, Bhagavat, for a very long time I have known that this Mahasattva had such inconceivable, miraculous powers, great strengths, and enormous vows. For the sake of future sinful suffering beings, I wish to let them know of the great benefits that Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva's miraculous power and vows can bring to them. This was the reason I raised those questions, Tathagata, for your answers. I will faithfully stand up to the task that you have entrusted me to fulfill. O Bhagavat, what will be the name of this sutra? How shall I circulate and advocate this sutra? The Buddha said to Samanta Vipula, this sutra can have 3 names. The Sutra of Ksitigarbha's Fundamental Vows, the Sutra of Ksitigarbha's Fundamental Deeds, or the Sutra of the Power of Ksitigarbha's Fundamental Vows. This Bodhisattva has been declaring solemn vows since long kalpas ago, wishing to benefit all sentient beings. Therefore, all of you should circulate and advocate this sutra according to this vow. After hearing these words, Samanta Vipula reverently brought his palms together, made obeisance,